let's understand why we all are here. Okay. The first thing is the configuration mindset. A lot of the time we have been trained to think on configuration. We simply configure. We are only configuring. We all were engineers. Now we are becoming mechanics. That's not your fault. That's how we have been trained to sit in front of the system, given a set of requirement, use cases, user issues, and we are just training ourselves in that. But because we were not involved in a lot of meeting, and whenever we were involved in decision making, the time is already too late. Like either you're there in your 10 years experience, 15 years experience, right? But eventually the expectation is between 3 years to 8 years, they are expected to put that control in place. But the decision is happening on the top. So how do you actually go and question? Because most of the time it is given, you implement, it breaks chaos, right? The goal here now is with whatever role you're working in, your job is always to review yourself. Again, we were not able to understand so what to review, so we were simply implementing it. Definitely there were individuals here who would have been going through that process, but very less. Okay. So the first thing is we should move out from what does the tool do, okay, out of the box, and simply configure JML, access, authentication, SAML, to what outcomes do we need? If an application team comes and say, I need SAML. So ideally our mind is, okay, it is supported in Entra, so let's implement SAML. Instead of that, why do they need SAML? Start from there. Not for every use case, but there are few use cases, right? Sometimes they will ask for some specific requirement, let's say an MFA bypass. Just because it has been approved by the leadership does not mean we implement. We do our own due diligence. Okay. Then a lot of the time vendors will come and say, okay, these are the features. I think your use case should be enough and you can use all these features driven by vendor defaults. Make sure that business requirement is first. And here there are three things that comes to my mind. Business requirement. So whenever you're implementing any use case, business requirement, your own best practice knowledge, best practices of the tool, and your knowledge. Okay. Mostly we deal with these three things whenever we are implementing anything. Out of these three things, what should be given the foremost priority? Business requirement or the best practice or my own knowledge? What
Business.
do you
Business requirements.
Best
Both.
practice and knowledge.
Sorry, say that again.
Best practices and knowledge.
Okay.
We should go
Anyone
by
else?
business requirements first. What the
Yes.
business needs, and then we apply what is best for the business.
What will happen if I go and pick these two and not pick the business requirement? And although before you answer, I'll add one point. Although we are saying business requirement, but most of the time you all will agree it is someone's knowledge and someone's best practice who have come from different organization. They start from here, right? And then they try to somehow align, and that is why most of the project would fail. All right.
Right.
So now, why is business requirement important? All your answers are correct, but why business requirement? What will happen if I do not consider business requirement as a topmost priority?
Sir, business requirement is necessary because we need structure wise implementation required.
Okay, Mohan. Anything else?
I mean, we will not be able to meet the business goals or organization goals at the end of the day if we do not keep in mind business requirements.
And what will happen if you do not meet business goals?
Yeah, again, the same, we go to the same thing. I mean, ultimate revenue loss or business loss.
And then there may not be a business loss. To be honest, here your project will get sidelined,
Correct.
right?
Yes, correct.
Time delays will happen. right? And your organization will keep asking for the feature will never be released because someone thought that they should have gone with a different product or a different solution based on the best practice from the internet or from Gartner. But no one actually understood what was the business trying to solve. Okay. And one more thing, definitely with knowledge, sometimes I've seen a small amount of ego also. And all of these are like real time scenarios. Many time people have their own set of mindset to argue, right? Based on their knowledge. And they will, because of this, they will add their own set of best practice. Saying, yes, I've seen organizations using a single IAM tool for all the use cases. I've seen in those meetings. Just because the product that they were choosing had all the features and the other product had only let's say the IGA part and bit of access management, they went on saying that no, everyone like best practices always use single product that does IAM IGA PAM. But do you think that is the best practice?
Even in this, in my case, also same thing actually. So
See,
I
I
don't
mean,
know.
this is, and here
Yeah.
we are not going to make some story, right? These are real time scenarios that I have seen, I have observed in different meetings. Our goal is to move out and be very technical, okay, and go with what is the right approach. And if you go with the right approach, eventually you start giving the results. It is not going to happen on day one, all right? But gradually you'll start seeing that people, you'll be able to build that trust. You'll be able to build that confidence on your leadership because whatever you build moving forward, when you consider business requirement and then you put down your knowledge and best practices, things will be stable. Many times people do not get the confidence, especially if we are in the mid experience, even though sometimes as seniors also, because we are not able to justify what is right way of doing things. Someone will randomly come and put their ego and knowledge and say, let's do this way. No one is questioning them. So, our goal as a key takeaway is to start questioning. Okay. From point to click implementation, meaning you got the details, you have clicked implementation to tool agnostic architecture. Now, I'll give you an example here. A lot of the time, back in like 4 or 5 years ago, one login was new to the platform, to the environment. Okay. They were doing access management. And my organization has a lot of business requirement, which one login was not able to fulfill. So what I went to Okta. I knew Okta back then. And I knew there were few features which Okta was supporting, which could solve the business use case. So I did not say that this will not be implemented. I kept raising ideas, features with one login. Okay. Out of 15 ideas that I have raised over a period of time, actually 8 of them have already been implemented now in one login. Those were my organization use cases, right? And one login was trying to become Okta back then. So this is where I actually understand the requirement. And just because tools does not support does not mean I stop there. And if it supports with very basic scenario, does not mean I simply go and implement if it is not aligned to business requirement. Business requirement is forefront, it should be on the top. And then scope, make the product work somehow. From there, we should move to solving the problem. And this is also one part of solving the problem. I wanted to solve the problem, not just tell my senior that this is what is supported, this much is possible. There are different ways. You can raise ideas, you can raise requests, you can do customization, get a developer, maybe from your team. Okay. See how you can involve that guy. So recently, one of the use case where we have been asked to develop role-based access control for a open source portal. Okay. And the developer went and said it's not possible because of the API. You cannot put a lot of controls and all of this. I simply said the two role-based access control that you need is admin and user. Okay. So we need admin and we need a user flow. And admin should be able to see everything, all the features, and users need restricted. Okay, I'm just giving an example of how I approach this. So right now, everyone was able to see all the details in that portal. Okay. I said, keep this as admin. Okay. And then for a user, let's use this. Now, what difference here is whatever I'm seeing here are all API calls. Okay. Here also it is going to be API calls. So instead of restricting on the code level, why don't you restrict both the APIs into two segments? One where you are making calls to every API if there is a user. Okay. Second, make another set of call. Pick the same code, reduce some fields and call less fields. And then whenever a user is logging in, check the basic groups. If they are a part of the group, this or this. You don't have to go to the code level and then let the code decide. Just break this down into simple solution, into simple parts. For example, you log in, you check the group, fix the group access, and then how the calls are being made. Again, I did not go into development level. For me, it was just logic that I was using here. Okay. So then go into resilient and portable solutions. Let's not always go to what vendor has logged in. Okay. Well, this is the most misunderstood and neglected thing. How many of you have seen that every time you give something to implement to your engineers or sometimes to your subordinates also, they will directly come up with the POC without any design diagram, use case, anything. If you have asked them, can you test this? They will directly show you. How many of you faced?
Yes, faced it a lot here.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Ravi.
Yes.
Now, because of that, what happens? You just go ahead with the POC. Everything is ready on the system. Okay. But when it comes to explaining, tracking, if there are any changes, then the things get delayed. Okay. So always start with designing. Put the basic scaffolding. So what I just did today, okay, is called scaffolding. Whatever it is there in my mind, I'm actually trying to put it in front of the Canva. So the first thing that we always refer to is escalator. If you see, there are multiple scaffolding that I've done.